Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Dynasty Drip today. We got a fun show for you. I'm going to be going over some players that I think are contender buys in Dynasty. Basically, if you are 3-1, 4-0, maybe 2-2 with a little bad luck, but you think you got a chance to win the title this year in Dynasty. Here's 5 guys that I'm trying to go get on my teams. Either A, because they're having good seasons, B, they're good deals, or C, they might just be the right kind of guy to target for a contending team. If you learn anything today, make sure to like the video. Please hit subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the NFL season, and I appreciate you guys either being a new watcher or coming back from before. But let's get into today's topic, contender buys, right? And I think QB-wise, especially in a super flex league, first guy I want to talk about is Justin Fields. Now, not only do I think this is a contender buy, this is someone I recently bought in a dynasty league as well, where I lost Joe Burrow, but I have a super contender team. And thing I like about Justin Fields as a contender buy is that's kind of the kind of player I view Justin Fields as. I don't know if I view Fields as a starting quarterback in 10 years in the NFL the same way I view a Justin Herbert, for example, but Fields does bring a massive weekly upside kind of spike week vibe to the quarterback position, obviously with his rushing ability. Now, we haven't really got to see him much on the Jets. He was awesome in week 1. He was good until he went out in week 2. He's going to be making his return week 4. But a couple things about Fields is, A, I do think he's attainable. QB 25 on KTC. Make your own ranking. Some people have him a lot higher. I know one of the CBS Dynasty guys has him as like a top 15 guy. I don't know if I have him that high. But Justin Fields, for me, something I looked at when I was trying to acquire him to be my QB2 in a dynasty league as a contender, was I really, really do like his playoff schedule. He has some good matchups, and that's something I'm looking for because I'm expecting to make the playoffs as a contender. So I'm a little less worried about getting there because I think the rest of my team can get me there, and more looking for a player that has the chance to really have a 30-point week in a playoff semifinal matchup to get me to the finals and whatnot. So I'd be very comfortable trading Bashal Tutin in a late second. In the league I traded for him, I actually ended up trading a first and a second. Now, I wouldn't start that high. My team is pretty stacked in that league. I have a lot of assets to give away, and I was not going to waste a year. It's also kind of being blackballed because I won last year. So, yes, I don't think I'd go that high unless you have a ton of assets to give away. But even putting your money where your mouth is, I do trust him enough in that sort of sense that I'm willing to go buy him at that price if I had to. Next one, and this is going to be a repeat of the buy low show from last week. Not the same trade, but Michael Pittman, another great week for Indianapolis. Looks like the number 1 pass catcher, maybe 1A, 1B with Tyler Warren there in Indianapolis. Even though the Colts didn't win, I liked enough of what I saw to them, almost beating a very good Rams team on the road. Could have, if Adonai Mitchell didn't, have that little screw up by the end zone. But Michael Pittman's the wide receiver 1 there, and he's 28 years old, 27 years old, turning 28, I think is what KTC is referring to. On the Colts this year, on the Colts next year, under contract. At this point, unless it really goes different, I'd expect Daniel Jones to be returning there, and I like the rapport they're building. And I think he's very affordable. Like, he's not the kind of player where he's a mega star, like he's obviously not a Chase Amon-Ra. And then he's not young enough to be really considered in that like rebuilder young tier. So I think unless you're are a contender with wide receiver problems, people are probably trying to move off of him. I ended up getting him for a 2nd-round pick in Jalen McMillan. My trade offer today is Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Bill, as we call him. Nothing against Bill. I mean, maybe he wins out in this committee in Washington. I'm not saying you got to go hard sell Krosky-Merritt, but in this instance, if I'm a contender and I need a wide receiver, I think Michael Pittman is a great target, and I'd much rather go get Krosky-Merritt and make that swap because I just think there's more upside to my team, especially if I'm looking at wide receivers. And if you are a contender, I would assume you need better running backs than Krosky-Merritt, where I think as a contender, you could be playing Michael Pittman as your wide receiver 3 every week and still really like your lineup on any given day. Next one, going to go back to the Jets here. Not something I usually recommend, but I do think Breece Hall is affordable enough. And in the small sample size with Justin Fields, he was much better. So I would think their offense is going to be a lot better with Fields on the field compared to when they were playing with Tyrod. So I'd expect that to be a little more of the Breece Hall we're going to see. Another thing I like about Breece Hall is he's either going to be on a new team next year or he's going to re-sign. And either way, he's young enough and shown enough over his career that I don't think this is some sort of like late career guy move. I think by trading this first round pick, which is what I'm saying, hopefully it's late if you're contending, maybe throw in a spicy rookie, Savion Williams, Isaac Tesla, a guy like that, something to get the deal done. Maybe you got to trade a second and a third as well. I'd go up that high if I really needed a running back. But I just think Breece Hall has some like spike week potential. Same thing I was talking about Justin Fields, that if you're a contender and you're looking to add a piece to your team that could put you over the edge, I think Breece Hall has that capability. He had a very good week 1, and I think I would expect for him to kind of continue that on. And just like I was saying for Justin Fields, the Jets have a good playoff schedule that I'm looking to target if I'm going to go trade for players as a contender. Now to just get something a little more, niche, but I think Hunter Henry might be the best contender tight end buy you could get. Obviously, he is technically tight end 1 on the season so far. I'm not saying he's going to be tight end 1 come the end of the season, but he's shown the upside there in New England, and he's just going to be very affordable. Like, he's 30 years old, tight end 22 on KTC. Most likely, if he's sitting on a rebuilding team, they have no issue trading him away for someone they consider to be some sort of prospect. My idea here is Jalen Noel. Maybe you toss a 3rd round pick at him, tight end premium. Maybe you toss a late second if you need a tight end to get you over the edge. If you, the league I have Hunter Henry in and traded for him in is I have TJ Hawkinson, and I'm just concerned enough that maybe we won't be getting some elite TJ this year that I wanted another guy to start, and I really like Hunter Henry. Also added him in a redraft league. Same thing. I think he brings weekly upside that really he's in that next tier, not counting the top 2 or 3 guys. So for me to be able to acquire him at the bottom price of that next tier, I think makes Hunter Henry a really good buy. Last one, going to stick with the Patriots. That's going to be Stefon Diggs. Had his best game of the season this last week, broke 100 yards. He's still coming back from that ACL, so I would imagine he only gets more healthy as the year goes. Yes, Butte had a couple good games. There's some other players involved like Hunter Henry. But in general, I don't know how amazing this Patriots defense is, so they're probably going to get in some shootouts. And when they do, I would expect Stefon Diggs to be a little more involved as the season goes on, just as like a high-volume target sort of guy. I think you get him for a 3rd round pick. I mean, I really do. I wouldn't be trading a second for him, and I think a 3rd's a very fair option. Now, if the guy's playing hardball with you, move on. Go get something else. Try to get, if they want a 2nd round pick, go after Michael Pittman, stuff like that. But if you can get Diggs for a 3rd round pick and you're looking to get some bye week fill-in guys, maybe you're trying to get by until CeeDee Lamb comes back, get a couple better weeks out of your wide receiver 3 slot. Maybe you have, like a T. Higgins and you don't want to play him anymore. Terry McLaurin's out. You're looking for a guy to fill in. I think Stefon Diggs could really fit that mold in general. But thank you guys for coming to Dynasty Drip today, talking about some contender buys. Drop me in the comments some guys you are buying on your contending dynasty teams. And as always, if you need any trade advice, make sure to hit me up in the comments below. Make sure to like the video, subscribe. My name's Sam. Thank you guys for coming to the channel. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up as well. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching.